The screen notifies Scythe of a hidden side quest. The quest is to gain a profession before the vote ends by obtaining a class item. Most players who see this quest for the first time are left confused. Even though everyone knew attaining a profession is important, but not many know how to do it. Profession items can only be obtained by fulfilling specific requirements. A warrior must increase their strength stat to 10 points or higher and defeat 30 monsters within an hour to gain their profession item. Berserkers need to hunt for a certain duration while bleeding, and assassins must attack monsters from behind multiple times. Scythe finally gains the Reaper class item. Upon successfully entering the Reaper class, he receives an additional reward, the Reaper's Rune. This rune grants him twice the damage when using a scythe as a weapon and increases his speed by 50% at night. He is also rewarded with a scythe. His rank has changed from beginner to trainee. Players can gain new skills or unlock new functions when leveling up to a new rank. As a trainee, Scythe is granted the unique Reaper skill, Seal of Death. This skill casts a seal on an enemy, allowing him to see their remaining HP. When attacking a sealed enemy, Scythe deals 100% more damage. Since he is also the first player to enter a profession, he receives a random gold pouch as a reward. From it, he gains the skill track, which allows him to locate any person he wants, provided he knows the target's nickname. Scythe hums in satisfaction, knowing this is a skill worth 20,000 gold. He decides to test it by using Youngmin Huang as the target. The system states that the player is located 623 feet away. An arrow appears, leading him to his target. Scythe wonders why Youngmin is in the forest, as in his previous life, he was more than a mile away. Curious, he decides to investigate. The scene shifts to Arin and Sankel running through the forest. Arin collapses to the ground, exhausted and injured from an arrow wound in her leg. Sankel helps her up, assuring her that she'll be fine as long as she survives. But their moment is interrupted by Youngmin and his team. Sankel curses under his breath, glancing at Arin and blaming her for slowing him down. He then grabs his weapon, ready to fight. Youngmin smirks at Sankel's weapon and taunts him, asking if he can't see how outnumbered they are. Sankel demands to know why they're being chased, as they haven't done anything wrong. To his and Arin's confusion, Youngmin declares darkly that he has come for the woman next to him. He offers to let Sankel go if he leaves Arin behind. Sankel grits his teeth, thinking he would have abandoned Arin earlier if he knew that's what they wanted. But he prepares to fight, knowing his master, Rock, would be disappointed if he failed to protect her. Sankel threatens to report them in the real world, but this only makes Youngmin laugh. Suddenly, they all turn around in surprise to see Scythe leaning casually against a tree. Scythe asks Sankel what's going on, while Youngmin demands that Scythe leave, as this doesn't concern him. Sankel pleads for Scythe's help, explaining that Youngmin and his team are after Arin and have attacked them. He promises to repay Scythe for his assistance. Youngmin waves his hand dismissively, clicking his tongue and telling Scythe to leave already. Scythe is only intervening because saving Rock's right-hand man will help him build a favorable impression with Rock. Having someone as wealthy and influential as Rock indebted to him would be a significant reward. Plus, he never liked Youngmin and his team anyway. Youngmin grits his teeth, recalling how Scythe effortlessly killed those goblins and secured first place in the previous round. Slamming his scythe down, Scythe asks them to speak up if they don't want to fight him. Nervously, Youngmin asks if Scythe will let them go if they back down. Smiling, Scythe says he'll consider it if they kneel down and beg. Youngmin is visibly annoyed, especially since all his friends and Arin are watching. He then remembers that he's strong enough to break walls, thanks to his rune of power. Smiling confidently, he thinks he can take Scythe out with a single punch. Cracking his knuckles, he curses at Scythe and slowly closes the distance between them. He plans to land a punch directly on Scythe's face once he gets close enough, but to his surprise, Scythe vanishes his weapon. Scythe tells him it's unfair for him to have a weapon while Youngmin is attacking with bare fists. Youngmin smirks, calling him crazy. Scythe dashes toward Youngmin, who throws a heavy punch. Scythe dodges effortlessly and knees Youngmin in the stomach, sending him flying from the force. As Youngmin curses again, Scythe kicks him in the face, telling him to stop rotting his ears. He then grabs his face and punches him hard. Youngmin is baffled, wondering why Scythe's strength rivals his own, even though he's the one with the rune of power. One of Youngmin's teammates shoots an arrow at Scythe. Arin screams for Scythe to duck, and he dodges just in time. The archer continues firing arrows, but Scythe closes the distance between them with incredible speed. Summoning his scythe, Scythe cuts off the archer's arm, making him scream in agony. Seeing this, another teammate charges at Scythe with a knife. Unfazed, Scythe summons the Seal of Death and strikes at him with his scythe. The guy collapses to the ground as both of his legs are struck. Without wasting time, Scythe dashes toward the last teammate, who stands there nervously. Scythe tells him he looks ready since he's holding a weapon up. With a swift motion, he strikes the arm holding the knife. The Seal of Death he used on him doubled the damage, allowing him to slice through the armor effortlessly. The three of them groan, clutching their severed limbs. But Scythe doesn't plan to end it here. He needs to plant fear in them and ensure they never attempt something like this again. The teammates plead with him to leave them alone, their faces filled with terror. Seeing their terrified expressions, Scythe considers stopping but then calls out to Youngmin, who's hiding behind a tree. Declaring that he doesn't make exceptions, Scythe strikes Youngmin's arm with his scythe. Youngmin screams in pain as blood spurts like a fountain. Scythe thinks that this pain is barely enough compared to what Youngmin and his team used to do to him. Without remorse, he strikes Youngmin's other arm. Sankel is visibly impressed, noting that Scythe leaves no room for regrets, which makes him similar to his master Kyunggruk. Walking over to Arin and Sankel, Scythe assures them that Youngmin and his team won't attack anymore since they can't move. Thanking him, Arin asks if the injured players will die if left in this state. Scythe thinks to himself that she's too soft-hearted for worrying about the lives of those who tried to harm her. Sankel asks if there's a reason Scythe left them alive, pointing out that there wouldn't be any consequences even if they were killed. Scythe explains that killing them would only reduce the number of players available to complete missions. Impressed, Sankel realizes that Scythe understands the game on a completely different level. As Scythe begins to leave, Sankel asks for his bank account details to compensate him for his help. Scythe declines the money and walks away. Since Scythe didn't ask for anything despite his assistance, Sankel decides to report him to his master Rock when they return. Meanwhile, the other players are busy asking for votes. One of them declares that he should be the representative because his father is a politician. Right then, Mint Boy speaks up, cutting through the chaos. He declares that they shouldn't waste time like this and claims to have a good solution. A smirk spreads across his face as the players listen to him intently, exactly as he expected. This is all thanks to his rune of conviction. When Mint Boy first obtained the rune of conviction, he was disappointed. The rune increases the chances of convincing the target he's speaking to, but it doesn't work on targets with a higher level than him. He tried using it on the goblins in the first round, but they didn't listen to him because they didn't speak his language. However, he soon realized how useful it could be. During the first round, he yelled at a group of men fighting goblins, telling them to go save a woman in danger. Without hesitation, the men left the half-dead goblins and rushed to save the woman. By finishing off the monsters that were already injured or near death by other players, Mint Boy was able to complete his quest easily. Now, he believes he can use this ability to become the map's representative. As the crowd listens to him in silence, Mint Boy announces that everyone should choose 5 candidates and vote for one of them. He asks if there's anyone they'd like to recommend. The politician's kid raises his hand, but is told they can't recommend themselves. Someone then recommends Mint Boy to be the representative. The others agree, stating that he's controlling the crowd very well. Another player recommends Black Scythe. Soon, players also recommend Life is a Documentary and Blackbeard Dragon on My Right Hand, who placed second and third in the previous round. They proceed with 4 candidates, and Mint Boy announces that each of them will now step up and make a speech. Mint Boy goes first, but is interrupted by someone cursing at him. Life is a Documentary walks up to him, scratching his ear. He glares at Mint Boy and asks if he thinks life is a joke. Angrily, he demands to know who Mint Boy thinks he is, choosing representatives like this. Mint Boy fires back, telling him to stop being rude. The man is furious and declares he will kill him. Mint Boy is equally pissed, realizing his skill isn't working on him. Life is a Documentary then addresses the crowd, threatening them to vote for him or else he will personally kill them. Mint Boy tells him to stop embarrassing himself and go away. Without warning, the man stabs Mint Boy in the neck, causing blood to spill everywhere. Turning back to the crowd, he threatens them again, declaring that they'll end up like Mint Boy if they don't vote for him. The crowd yells, calling him a murderer. Smirking, he brutally stabs anyone who raises their voice against him. He smiles with evil intent, thinking he can kill anyone he wants, however he pleases. Flashing his bloody knife, he yells that anyone who doesn't vote for him will be dead in the next round. Noticing the horrified faces of the crowd, he is now certain everyone will do as told. He then plans to kill Black Scythe to claim the top rank. The scene shifts to Scythe, who has just achieved level 16. His kill count is now 265. However, he's leveling up much more slowly now. Even though he killed 200 monsters in 2 hours, he only gained 6 levels. He guesses it's because hunting has become far easier with the Rune of Slaughter and the Reaper's Rune. Right then, the timer finally ticks down to 0. A beam of light flashes onto him as the screen announces it's time to vote. All the players within the map are returned to the initial starting point. The players begin teleporting to the initial starting point. Some flinch as they notice the dead bodies that have also been transported. Arin asks if that man killed all of them. Scythe recognizes him as the head of the Jungshik gang, a natural fighter with a trash personality. The bloodied man walks toward Black Scythe, declaring that he's been waiting for him. Smirking, he tells Scythe to work for him. He flips his knife around, saying he'll let Scythe live if he becomes his underling. Scythe asks if he wants to fight him right now. He smirks and says he'll let the man go if he kneels and begs for his life. But the man keeps rambling about how he's going to become the representative. Summoning his Scythe, Scythe asks if the man is deaf. The man watches in silence, fully aware of who he's dealing with. The man then introduces himself as Jungshik Joe, the boss of the Jungshik gang. He demands to know if Scythe really thinks he'll kneel before him. However, Scythe doesn't attack him. He needs Jungshik to become the representative in the 3rd round so he can manipulate him later. As expected, the angel appears. Jungshik grits his teeth, vowing to make Scythe suffer for humiliating him once he becomes the representative. At the angel's command, a screen pops up in front of everyone, instructing them to start their vote. To vote, players must look at the person they want to vote for and think "vote" in their heads. Players who fail to vote within 5 minutes will be eliminated for failing the mission. The timer starts ticking. Jungshik looks proud as everyone glances at him, just as he expected. He then calls out a random person, asking if they want to die since they aren't looking at him. He threatens everyone to vote for him. Once the time runs out, the angel announces it's time to see the tally. Life is a Documentary wins, with Black Scythe close behind. Jungshik looks furious, seeing nearly the same number of votes for Black Scythe. The angel declares Jungshik the map's representative, granting him the unique skill command order. Excited, Jungshik plans to use his first order to make everyone go after Scythe. But a screen pops up, stating that the skill has a usage limit of only 10 times. Additionally, he can only give a command to one player at a time, and the skill doesn't work on players with the profession. The angel flaps her wings and explains that there was a hidden quest in this round, to enter a profession before the voting. However, the side quest screen was set to appear only once players reached level 10. The angel encourages them not to be upset, as only 8 people in the entire world have gained a profession, with 1 being in their map. The side quest results reveal that Black Scythe is in first place. The players glance warily at him, their unease obvious. Jungshik curses under his breath. He had planned to command Scythe to kill himself, but now he realizes it won't work since Scythe has a profession. The angel sounds impressed as she addresses Black Scythe directly. She remarks that his profession is a unique class, and that his nickname perfectly matches it. She asks him how he knew to name himself that. Scythe simply replies that he didn't know he'd get something that matched his nickname. The angel then explains to the other players that Scythe won't be affected by the representative's commands. She also clarifies that the representative can only use the command skill 10 times. Jungshik grits his teeth, frustrated that she's revealing all the limitations to the players. The angel announces it's time to reward the winner and snaps her fingers. A screen pops up, rewarding Scythe for placing first on both the player map and the world map. For the player map, he is given a low-tier armor ticket, allowing him to choose between 3 options. Scythe already knows which one is the best and selects it without hesitation. For the world map, he is given 3 advantages to choose from. Anticipating the large number of monsters in round 3, he opts for the experience points boost. At the angel's command, everyone begins vanishing as round 2 comes to an end. Yeoman gasps as he returns to the real world. He looks at both of his arms and vows never to cross paths with Black Scythe again. The scene shifts to Arin and Sankle. Arin thanks Sankle for helping her and asks how she can express her gratitude to Black Scythe. Sankle explains that she can't, as Black Scythe doesn't want to be found. He even refused to provide his bank account number. He suggests that she give him an item in the next round as a token of thanks. Bidding farewell to her, Sankle heads to the elevator. He calls his master, Kyunggruk. He congratulates Rock on becoming a Dark Knight. Rock brushes off the praise and asks how they performed in the round. Sankle explains that they got injured mid-game and weren't able to hunt any monsters. He then asks if Rock has time to spare, as he has a report about Black Scythe. He then gets into his car and drives off. All this while, Min was watching him. About 10 minutes earlier, Min uses his track skill to locate Sankulin. The distance initially starts at 29 feet, but quickly begins to change. Sensing that Sankul might be heading to Kyunggruk Ma, Min decides to follow. Meanwhile, Rock waits for Sankul. He is particularly curious about the report on Black Scythe, knowing that Scythe has placed first in all the rounds so far. He wonders if Scythe might have assaulted his right-hand man. If that's the case, Rock doesn't plan to let him get away with cutting his path. As Sankul enters, he and Rock greet each other warmly. Sankul immediately thanks Rock, stating that having him around is motivation enough for him. Sitting down, Sankul congratulates Rock on advancing and entering his profession. He adds that it's an honor to serve someone like him, especially since Rock placed second and third on the world map. Please. Rock asks Sankul what he wants, teasing him for praising him so much. Looking nervous, Sankul hesitates. He asks Rock how he gained his class item. Rock quickly replies that he simply hunted some monsters and obtained a class item for his profession. However, this isn't the whole truth. Rock actually gained his profession through the rune of the Dark Knight. In the first round, the random rune he received was the rune of the Dark Knight. It raises overall stats and covers the player's weapon in a dark aura, dealing extra damage to opponents. It also automatically grants the unique class Dark Knight when the player reaches level 10. Despite how close Sankul is to him, Rock can't reveal every important detail. Turning serious, Rock then asks who hurt Sankul and if it was Black Scythe. Sankul stops him, explaining that he's actually indebted to Black Scythe, and recounts everything that happened. He tells Rock that even if they had been caught, Arin might have survived, but would have been mentally traumatized to the point where her career would have been ruined. Rock realizes that not only did he nearly lose his most important subordinate, but he also almost lost a significant business investment. He asks if the attackers are dead. Sankul replies that Scythe tortured them, but didn't kill them. Sankul explains that Scythe spared them because decreasing the player population would only lower their survival rate. Rock reflects on the situation, realizing that Scythe not only protected his subordinate, but also safeguarded his investment. He supposes he's now indebted to Scythe as well. Sankul adds that Scythe rejected any form of compensation. Standing up, Rock asks Sankul to convey his regards if he meets Scythe in the next round. He also instructs Sankul to keep an eye on Black Scythe and assist him where possible, as Rock dislikes being indebted to anyone. Finally, his expression turning dark, he asks for the nicknames of the attackers. Meanwhile, Min is outside Rock's building. Now that he has Rock's address, he decides to leave, as loitering around would arouse suspicion. He silently thanks his brother, realizing that it was because of him they ran into Arin and Sankul. As long as he takes advantage of the fact that he and Sankul are neighbors, he'll be able to gain Rock's trust. The rune of the Dark Knight is like a cheat code in a game. However, there are no runes that come with the same profession, making it unique. But there are significant downsides to being a Dark Knight. For one, the player has no choice but to remain a Dark Knight. The most critical downside is that a Dark Knight must charge a unique mana called Dark Mana to use the Dark Aura, and Dark Mana cannot be gathered through ordinary means. Yet, in some ways, it's perfect for a psychopath like Kyunggruk. Min decides to keep Rock as a candidate for now and use him to his advantage. He knows there are other talented players besides Rock. At a convenience store, the owner sighs heavily. Just then, his daughter, Juri, walks in, smiling brightly. She asks her dad what's wrong, and he explains that lottery sales are being withdrawn. The government is giving various reasons, but it's really because of the players, as they don't know how their powers might be misused. Jory tells her dad to stop worrying, as she's about to graduate and will be able to help him soon. But her dad insists that he'll handle the finances and that she should focus on her studies. He reminds her of her dream to become a doctor. Jory asks her dad to forget about that, as there's no point in thinking about school given their current situation. Taking her dad's hands, she reveals that she survived and gained a profession during this round. Placing her hand over his head, she casts a green light. She explains that in the other world, she obtained a profession called Buffer, which comes with the skill called Bless. It raises a player's overall stats, but for normal people, it feels energizing. Right then, Min walks into the store.